Hey man, what's happening? Cool Water, the digital dope man here from the Barroom Chats podcast, where we talk about topics in the area of entertainment, culture, politics, business, education, and health. Barroom Chats podcast is a podcast that basically is just like everyday conversation with you and your homies at the bar. And y'all just talk about some real critical issues without a whole lot of stress involved. That's really the premise of the title for the podcast called Barroom Chats. You can find Barroom Chats podcast on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Look up Barroom Chats or Cool Water Tracks, and you should be able to run across this podcast. Or you can also visit the websites ishiphopdead.com or thedigitaldopeman.com and listen to the audio of these podcasts. So today, I wanted to run up on a conversation. This falls in the area of sports and entertainment that is probably needed for a lot of the black community and other communities as well, but typically black community. And that's a story that Steven Jackson, former NBA player, told a few days ago about his ex-wife or ex-fiancee that he was going to marry some years ago. And I don't know how long ago that was, probably anywhere between 4 to 6 years now, 3 to 6 years. And the story was very compelling because, like he said, his motive was to alleviate the young bros, the young cats, from going through the same drama that he went through with dealing with certain women and the woman that he was trying to marry. So Steven, as he puts it, found this woman in New York, managed to get her attention. They started dating. Time progressed. They had some rough and rocky patches during the relationship, and he wanted to marry her. As he began to make preparations to marry her, and they're developing a plan to get married, he presents her with a prenup. Now, this is where I'm going with this. I want y'all to follow me because I put this topic on Facebook about 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I think it's important that this conversation be rehashed, especially from the point of the sisters out here who may not come from some money, may come from some money, may be middle class with no money, no assets. When I say money, I'm talking, generational wealth and assets. So he said as time progressed, he wanted her to sign the prenup. He presents the prenup to her 3 months before the marriage. She's like, okay, cool, I'm going to sign it. He said, and what he was saying was, in order for a prenup to be generated, the man and the woman have to be in agreement on what's in the prenup in order for the prenup to even get drawn up. So she knew what was in the prenup. Time progressed. To keep the story short, they got close to the wedding day. The girl done camouflaged and dodged so hard that she has not signed the prenup, but she's still alleging she's going to sign the prenup. And the prenup is the carrot for him to protect himself from financial ruin, because this woman has not been there since the onset of his trek towards wealth creation in the NBA. The wedding day arises. He's still waiting for the prenup to be signed. This woman is still camouflaging. He also mentioned that he had a particular pastor because he wanted to get married right outside of Houston or in Houston. And it was just something about saving money. He said he spent $400,000 on a wedding, which was ludicrous to me. But because he had the money, he wanted to make sure he showed her that money wasn't no problem, and he loved her and he wanted to be with her. She had other ulterior motives. So as he sits there, got the homeboy, Stephon Marbury, and I forgot Jason last name, man. Jason was there, one of his other partners from the league. He is like, this marriage ain't going down unless she signed a prenup. Well, she didn't want to sign the prenup. The pastor comes, her pastor, because she bitched and complained about this particular pastor. So he started trying to use the Jesus piece on, well, you know, God would rather it be this way. God would rather it be that way. And you know, let's overlook this and just go ahead on and get married, and y'all can deal with it later. So eventually, after he raises hell, Stephon Marbury starts raising hell, like, oh, hell no, you ain't signed, she ain't signed a prenup. Oh man, ain't no marriage going down. See, she starts to, you know, boo-hooing and crying and all that other stuff and telling him to come to the room. So she crying and boo-hooing and I'ma sign it. And by this time, the light bulb done came on because he crying. He teary-eyed. He into his feelings. You know what I'm saying? With the realization that this woman is trying to gaffle me. Take what's mine. So, the topic of this podcast is women, money, greed, and deceit. Women, money, greed, and deceit. Now, this ain't specific to any particular woman, but it's specific to black women, because I'm talking from a black perspective. But all women fall into this category. Greed, money, greed, and deceit. Many women, in particular black women, who come from nothing, and I'm gonna elevate the levels of the game while I'm speaking this, when I'm spitting this juice, who comes from nothing and elevates to a level where she starts to incorporate her lifestyle into a man with money, starts to look at avenues and ways in which she can continue to earn a residual income on that man's lifestyle, even though she has not put or made any investment into the man's lifestyle from a monetary, financial, economic standpoint. And I want y'all to follow me on this. Most of black America as a whole, and you can add white America in this too, those white Americans who come from lower means, the trailer park, poverty, whatever you want to call it. Once women from these backgrounds starts to interact with men with money, their need for survival kicks in. Their need to want to be able to not go back to the plantation, if you will, kicks in. Black women, the majority of them, come from lower means, middle class to lower middle class to poverty. Very few folks in urban America that actually comes from wealth. Small percentage. Wealth really starts at about $300,000. Let's say $300,000. $250,000 is good. $250,000 and higher. That's when you could consider you part of the top 10% of American economic, financial stability and freedom. Okay. The need for a residual lifestyle for a lot of women kicks in when they see a man with money because they don't have the financial intelligence to know how to create it. So if you're a conniving, scheming broad from day one, and you've been that, whether you're working a good job with a college degree, you're going to use your survival tactics to figure out how to incorporate yourself into this man's lifestyle. Hence the reason Steven Jackson met this woman who would not sign the prenup. See, the prenup for her was her leveraging, was her, what's the word I want to use? The prenup for her removed her from the leveraging of his financial wealth, his wealth. See, Steven Jackson may be, let's just hypothetically say, dude worth 30 million, 25 million. Let's just say that. 25, 30 million. Well, if ain't no prenup, she entitled to half of that. And maybe even more than that. You know, because by law, being his wife, she's part of the corporate structure that helped him build his wealth. Even though, like he said, he wasn't in the gym. None of them women was in the gym with him when he was putting time in to make the money. So the greed and the deceit kicked in for her because she is calculating what she can stand to get if she can just hang on for 3 years, hang on for 4 years, hang on for 5 years, and probably would ended up divorcing him with no conscience because she, at this point, had tapped into the man's money. See, the educational aspect of this whole thing and not coming from money and being deceitful and being greedy is what made her show her true colors, and one of the reasons why she did not want to sign the prenup. I put this question out on Facebook some years ago. Would you marry a man or date a man, whomever, if he asked you to sign a prenup? And most of the people was like, if he loved me, he wouldn't have me sign it. See, that is the scheming and the deceitfulness that a lot of women come with. Because they want to tap into somebody else's means without having to work for it. And they want to do it by any means necessary. Steven Jackson just happened to be a dude who stood on his morals and his principles, and it was the right thing to do to leave that woman on wedding day, because the damage in the long run was going to be more significant than if he would have married her. So he even said after he married her and time passed and he was throwing birthday parties for the kids, pay about $3,000. She slipped up, got away from the party, went down to the courthouse in California and filed for child support, saying she lived in California to try to obtain some more money from the dude. Went behind his back again. So all that tells you is she was willing to go to great lengths to make sure she could tap in to the man's money. And this is across the board: entertainment, politics, sports, whatever line of work a wealthy, established, well-to-do man is in, there will be some women who will be gold diggers by nature and by affiliation, because they're thinking, if I can just manipulate this dude into giving me his money, I don't have to worry about my quality of life for a specified period of time. And it's sad to say, but a lot of this stems from the fact that we all come from a poverty-stricken background, most of us. So your survival, your need for survival kicks in, and you look by any means necessary to take from the man. There's very few women that I hear about getting taken by a man when it comes to him and her wealth. Women typically will love you for you if she in love with you, and you know, she gonna ride with you. But women got that sixth sense that if the shoe was on the other foot, she wouldn't have married. It wouldn't even got to the wedding. If he didn't sign a prenup, that would have been her red flag. She not getting married. She would have been already up on game. She would have knew this ain't what's happening, because he don't want to sign into it because he trying to beat me out of my money. Because women come into a situation with a certain sixth sense, a certain spider sense, if you will, where they always looking for the wrong in the relationship anyway, in my personal opinion. You see what I'm saying? So he messed around and got up on a gold digger, but that's just not. It's not just one gold digger. It's several. See, and because Black America in particular, the black women in particular, base their quality of a relationship off of what a dude got. What kind of car he driving? What kind of house he got? What kind of job he got? What kind of friends he got? All that is how they're determining whether or not this relationship is bona fide, solidified, and solid. They make all the wrong decisions and get a hold of the wrong men a lot of times. Anyway, just based off the fact that they materialistic and they're immature and they're a superficial people. Because you didn't base the dating and the courting period on the dude's morals, you know, the dude's future goals, the dude's willingness to stick by you through thick and thin when you go through some stuff. That wasn't a part of it. Yeah, you admired that. It was cool, but your real reasoning for being with this guy is because he got a $20 million net worth. This dude spent $400,000 on the wedding. If that don't tell you he loved you, I don't know what else do. Because I wouldn't have spent that kind of money on a wedding. I don't give a damn what type of paper I got. There's no need to do that. You could have got it done for $30,000, $20,000. You could have got it done way cheaper than that. And then, you know, spent another $40,000, $50,000 on some honeymooning. You know, but neither here nor there. So I think it's important for folks to understand that at the end of the day, and that goes for both people, goes on shoes. The shoe is worn on both shoes. You got to protect your interests. The prenup is there for that purpose, to protect the wealth of the individual who has built it. Now, if you get with a woman and you and that woman build from scratch, let's take like Michael Jordan. He got with Juanita when he was wasn't making no money. You know, I think he might have had a $200,000 contract or something like that. And then he built that up to several $100 million. Okay, well, he ain't fight that. Just paid her. Because she was there from day one. She was taking care of the kids. She was cooking meals. She was rubbing his feet. She was rubbing his back. She was at the game. She was at the practices. She was making sure the kids' schoolwork done. Okay, you would deserve every penny you get. Wasn't no prenup. You get all the bread. You get your half. So she got half of the $1 billion empire. Now, he done went on to make, recoup that money and turned out still net worth is worth several $1 billion. Net worth is still worth several $1 billion. You see what I'm saying? But it's just one of those things that, you dealing with somebody, man, who come from the gutter. And if they come from the gutter or they slick by nature and they've been hanging around a lot of clowns and a lot of cutthroat ass folk, no matter if it's the NBA, no matter if it's politics, no matter if it's business, whatever, it's you're gonna see the real nature of that person. And that was the real nature of the woman he was with. In spite of the fact she might have loved him, but she didn't love him enough to put the love before the bread. She wanted to make sure her security was met. She wanted to make sure she didn't have to worry whether or not she was ever going to have to work again, because she was going to do it off the back of what he built, even if they wasn't together. So she could walk away. And she probably would have divorced him after about 3 years, because she would have got tired of him, because at this point she can buck, kick, scream, act real flustered and be irritated by the behavior. So she looking for an out, because she would rather be alone and have a boyfriend than be married and to have somebody had dominion over her. You see what I'm saying? She didn't want to be bothered. So yeah, they got a couple kids. He paid the child support. Well, that was her first end. Let this dude pop me. Give me a couple babies so I know I'm tied to the money. Then she came back and was getting ready to get married. So he was signing the prenup. Then it was, well, I'm going to get it. Okay, well, it was never no agreement. So most of the black women that I have heard and seen, especially when I put that post up on Facebook, heard and seen, did not agree with getting a prenup with a man that they were about to get married with, because in my personal opinion, that's the leverage for them to be able to take that man to the bank and clean him out at any given time. And it's unfortunate, because this is what goes on in the hood, in the black community, in wealthy communities, where you have individuals who are together, but they really not together because it's the money that's really keeping the relationship together. You've seen Basketball Wives. You've seen how them bras is acting. And they got paper, but you can't take the person out the hood, as they say. You can take the person out the hood, but you can't take them away from how they act, or they was acting in the hood, something to that effect. I don't forgot what it was, but he just ran up on a gold digger, and then he said some other stuff that was really interesting. After all that went down, one of the bridesmaids that she was rocking with ended up catching him and his homeboys. It was a couple of her partners. He ended up smashing one of the bridesmaids. Because the bridesmaid at this point, she been wanting to tap. She been wanting to get next to the money. She was the money. She wanted to get next to the money. So she let him poke. So, he probably shoot her a couple dollars every now and then when he want to come through and smash. But that's your girlfriend, though. See, that's what I'm saying. The money got you selling out. The money got you stabbing folks in the back. The money got you, being real melancholy and acting anything but somebody with some substance. And that's how it's going down, man. That's how it's going down. It's going down like that 24/7. So women, money, greed, and deceit. It's unfortunate, and this goes for men and women. The partner that you came up with to be the first one to stab you in the back. It's like Jay-Z and Damon Dash. They built that company together, but at the end of the day, everybody say Jay, slick dude, turning tail. That's alleged, but we don't know. But it's other stories with other people, man, that have built stuff. So at the end of the day, there is no, you really got to look at what you dealing with. And contracts, for real talk, contracts bring out the ugliness in a person or the best in a person. And I got a book by Kevin O'Leary where he said, if you make $250,000 a year, you should have a prenup. So if I start to make that kind of money and I meet a woman somewhere in there, if we're going to get married, I would probably present her with that offer. She can get flustered. She can get upset. She can kick, scream if you really loved me. No, if I love you, I'm going to protect what I built. See? Because you're not walking away empty-handed. But we know people change. They outgrow each other over time. And it's important that I protect myself. Now, if you love me, you'll sign this paper and we'll move on. But again, it's the mindset. It's the upbringing of Black America. It's the upbringing of lower and middle class ethnicities that make them do deceitful, greedy, unethical things because they trying to get over so they can get $1, so they can really live the life that they really want to live. And a lack of education, it proves to be a hindrance because most people don't know how to make the money, or if they got access to it, they don't want to do the work. You think your looks is the only thing that can get you in the door. You put your looks above your mind. You put your ass above your mind. You put your coochie above your mind. You don't want to use what God gave you, roll up your sleeves and go ahead and do the work. You figure, well, I just drop a little bit, let him hit, and then that'll be cool. And at the end of the day, don't nobody respect a hoe. Man or woman. Don't nobody respect a hoe. So look here, man. I'm cool with the digital dope, man. I just trying to drop that, because I thought that was a very compelling story, especially for the young cats out here who, going into the league and going into business and going into their particular professions and gonna be making a considerable amount of money. And you meet that little girl and she's so cute. She's so pretty. She's so nice. She's so, she's so feminine. And you just, next thing one day she start turning ugly on you because you ain't doing it the way she want, because she can't tap into the bank account, because you ain't put your name and her name on the bank account. All that old, nonsense. Check me out at the blog is hiphopdead.com. Look for me at the home base site, thedigitaldopeman.com. And look, man, the same thing Steven said, I'm a cosign. Take your time when you looking for your significant other. I'm at an age now where, I'm looking for my significant other, but I also understand that there are some things that are going to need to be done by her so that we are on the same page and we can live that lifestyle we want to live and live a happy lifestyle without the stress and all the deceit and the greed and the backstabbing. Hey, man, I'm cool with water, man. Y'all holler at me. Peace.